Hello, everyone. We are live with the special guest, Dr. Pamela Pugh. We are going to share. Give us 1 second to get our share game going. Mickey, are you sharing too, dear? Sweet, darling Mickey. Shouts out to 810 News Media Group and the greatest producer in the world, the only one that I can afford, Mickey Jordan. Hey, I have to do that. I gotta do that. I gotta throw a little shade. Just I wouldn't be me if I didn't throw just a little bit of shade, just a little shade. I gotta throw a shade at somebody, and I'm not gonna do it to my guests, so I have to do it at Mickey. Yes, we're gonna get Mickey today. We're gonna get Mickey today, Dr. Pugh. So let me share to a couple groups, and hold on now. I have to go right here and do this over here. And everyone, while you are tuning in, you guys are popping on rather quickly there. You're popping on rather quickly, so come on in and share with me. Share, share, share. Let me go back to my page and share. The Wyntis Hall show, the first show of 2024. And I'm very, very excited to have special guest in the house, Dr. Pamela Pugh, once again.
This is the first show of the year.
First show of the year. Yes. Yes. And I always come through hard with that first interview. You know what I'm saying? So I said, who could be that was Mickey. And I always say, like, who can I bring on that would just be like we want to see them together. And that was you. That was you. So hold on, everyone. Keep sharing with me. Give me about 30 more seconds, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get through this interview. How are you feeling today, though, Dr. Pugh?
I feel good today. That road down from Saginaw, the roads were clear.
Good. I was a little scared this morning. I was hoping we didn't have any,
Right.
Oh, I was hoping there wasn't going to be no mess this morning. I said, please.
It's supposed to get worse tomorrow.
Well, it went from 5 to 8 inches, and then they said we're going to have 1 to 3 inches. So I really don't think they know. I don't think anybody knows until it happens.
Just look out your window.
That's all you got to do is look out the window. Look out the window. Hold on. Let me share a few more people, and we will be ready to get started, Dr. Pugh. You've been in the news lately, Dr. Pugh. You've been in the news. And we have to give the people all of the tea for Dr. Pamela Pugh. So one more second. See, I don't have an assistant yet because my assistant would be having to do all of this. But, Mickey hasn't got me an assistant yet, Dr. Pugh. Yep.
Keep the heat on Mickey.
Yep, I am. I try to. I try. Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate that. So happy New Year to everyone out there that's joining us. Dr. Pugh, if you get thirsty, some water there. I have tea. I have tea for the interview. But see, we got enough people on here. Yeah, we got enough people. I can go ahead and get started. Oh, look at everybody's calling us beautiful. Good evening, ladies. Yes, beautiful ladies. And Mickey's here too. Mickey's here too, so he's beautiful too.
Well, happy New Year, everyone.
Melissa Zabrinsky, you said you thought 4 to 8 inches. It changes every time. It changes depending on what station you watch. Depends on how much how much snow we gonna get. Arthur Woodson, what's up, Art? Art said hello. He said good evening.
Happy New Year.
Oh, okay then. We got good guests in the house. Marilyn Smith, good morning. Oh, good. Look, I'm used to the bump. Good evening. Good evening, all of you. I can't go through one by one. Shardy Shard. We gotta say hi to Shardy.
Hi.
Shardy is just Shardy is just Tony said your skin is beautiful. Quit hitting on my guests now. Quit hitting on my guests. Shumo, hey Shu, everybody, Karen Malone, Harletta, hey fam, everyone that's watching. Oh, this is your first time meeting her. Well, we about to get down. Y'all really gonna know Pam Pugh when we leave here today. So let's get started. So, Dr. Pugh, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I was make sure it's the mic.
Is
Can
my mic
everybody
okay,
hear? Can
Mickey?
everybody hear? Okay, we crystal clear and everything. Mickey, oh, here's the producer. He's coming to adjust the microphone.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So
That's okay. All
so
right.
thank you for joining me.
Thank you for
I
having me.
appreciate you coming here today to be with us. And before we jump right off into it, I want you to introduce yourself and tell the people who is Dr. Pamela Pugh.
Okay. So I'm going to talk to the people.
You're going to talk to the people, yes.
Thank you all for joining us. I am Pamela Pugh. I have lived in Michigan for 52 of my 53 years of life. I just had a birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And live right up the street in Saginaw, Michigan, where I was raised, and went to Saginaw High School. I won't talk about the basketball rivalry today,
Okay.
but went to Saginaw High School, worked in public health for most of my life. And many of you all know me from my work here in Flint as the chief public health advisor, really working side by side with the residents of Flint as we continued to fight for safe and affordable water to come out of the taps, to rebuild the infrastructure that was damaged, to push back on a government system that had failed the people here in Flint. And in Saginaw, started that work out. Most of my work was in environmental health, environmental justice, working on children's issues.
Mhm.
And I've been elected statewide twice here
Yes.
in the state
Yes.
of Michigan.
Yes.
In November was the highest vote getter for the State Board of Education
Oh,
with over
okay.
2 million votes, which then means that I ran in this district and won this district. The district that I'm talking about is the 8th congressional district, where I'm now running for U.S. Congress.
Oh, are
Yeah.
you? I didn't know that.
I'm running for U.S. Congress.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Dr. Pugh, let's put a pin in it right there. You were running for, what was it?
U.S. Senate seat.
U.S. Senate seat. And now you're going with the congressional seat.
I am now running for the U.S. congressional
in
seat.
your district.
In our district.
In our district, right? Because I get to vote this time, y'all. I get to vote. Dr. Pugh, the question that everybody wants to know, what made you change?
Well, first of all, I will say these are not things that you do and not be in prayer. So have been
Okay.
in deep prayer, deep thought. As I was running that U.S. Senate race was a statewide race. It was crisscrossing the state. Got the news and spoke with Congressman Kildee as he was about to hit the send button to say that he was not going to run in the next election. And what he said to me is, he said, Pam, in the first 5 minutes after I hit the send button, they're going to be calling me. After an hour, they're going to be calling you because your name continues to come up and folks keep talking about you here in Washington. And sure enough, I started getting phone calls from my spiritual leaders here and afar, from people who are advisors to me, as well as the media.
Okay.
And it didn't take long for me to realize that I could still go to Washington, D.C. and do what I wanted to do, which is to fight for the people and continue to make sure that this government works for all people.
Okay.
And so going to Washington, D.C. as a member of U.S. Congress versus the Senate, I was okay with that because I also get to represent the district where I've lived 52 of my 53 years of life and have spent my adult career servicing here.
So do you think if Kildee would have announced that he was going to not seek reelection first, you wouldn't even consider the Senate race?
I can't say that 100 with a 100% assurity, but
Okay.
I can say that with some assuredness that I probably definitely would have given that
Okay.
stronger consideration. But I will tell you, running for 6 months in that U.S. Senate race
Mhm.
prepared me in a way that I would not have been prepared for this U.S. congressional race,
Okay.
because it is going to be tough.
Right.
The district is Flint, Saginaw, Bay, Midland. I had already been crisscrossing those areas. I had already set up my FEC account. I had
Okay.
already start forming a team. Um, so I was already preparing myself. So I had a practice run, so to speak.
Okay.
And I will tell you, running across this whole state and then coming home to run. And now I would come to Flint just about every day,
Mhm.
leave my car here, and then go to the rest of the state if I was going
And
southwest
and
or
I know
west
for
or
a fact you
east.
were doing that.
So
Mhm.
now I get to come to Genesee County, and this is a cakewalk driving this. I drove it for
Right.
work.
Right.
So this is the edge of my district. And I worked in Midland as a chemical engineering. I have a bachelor's of science in chemical engineering.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
so my
Okay.
master's and my doctorate are in public health. So
Okay.
before I worked in the public health sphere, I worked in Midland and did work at Dow Chemical. And so know that area somewhat.
Okay.
That was early part of my life.
Mhm.
And then in Bay County, served there, would go in and help families to address childhood lead poisoning and lead exposures in their home,
Mhm.
and also worked at a site that had radioactive material. So I worked in those areas too and traveled those, those roads. So familiarity
Okay.
as well.
Okay. So a lot of people would say, well, Pam left the race because it was too hard in the Senate, and she's coming over here because it's easier. What would you say to people that throw out stuff like that?
Knowing politics,
Mhm.
and when you study the data, this is not an easy race. You don't
Right.
run this U.S. congressional race because it's an easier race,
Mhm.
because you have such a huge mixture, and the populations of Democrats that you have to get to and convince to vote for you
Mhm.
is a little bit differently configured than the state, and so it does not make it necessarily an easier race. I did not come because this was going to be an easy race. It's a clearer path for me
Mhm.
because I'm familiar
With the area.
with the area,
Mhm.
and I still get to go to Washington D.C. and take all of my experience and still be able to fight for the people of this whole state, but in particular, our community. So I didn't pick this because it's an easier race. This
Okay.
is a majority, it's not a majority minority district.
Okay.
So, and we have to think about it. There are no Black folks on the Democratic side representing us in the US government, or
And
in the US
right.
Congress, or
Or
the
Senate.
Senate or
Right.
the House. Yes.
I would like to see you go.
And I'm a Black woman. So this is
Yes.
not getting ready to be easy. Most
Yes.
stuff that we do is not easy,
It's not. We have to
but
fight harder.
we know we have to do it.
Will you back heel Harper? I'm just playing. I'm not even gonna go there right now. I'm not gonna go there right now. So we're gonna get all the hard questions out first. I got one more hard question that I want to ask you.
Okay.
So Pam Pugh was running for Senate.
Mhm.
Pam Pugh prayed and got with her political
Mhm.
advisors,
Mhm.
and the opportunity came up, and Dr. Pam Pugh decided to go for the congressional run.
Mhm.
Well, we seen the headlines. We seen the post. We heard the chatter behind the scenes. And one of the people that were on your core campaign group, Dr. Karen Weaver,
Mhm.
also decided I might
Mhm.
throw my hat in the ring.
Mhm.
It came out that I think it was last week where she said, "No, I'm not going to do it for personal reasons." Pam, how did you feel when? Because let me tell you how I feel, girl. Because we here now because of Pam Pugh. We over here, we got a beautiful new studio though, but I'm just saying, it was the whole fallout between Hill Harper, Pam Pugh. Pam is my sister. My sister. You want to interview Hill Harper, but no, we want Pam. And so it was a big thing. So when you changed, I'm like, well, damn. We fell out for nothing. And then I said, well, you know what? Everything works together and it comes together good, for the good.
Mhm.
But Pam, how did you feel when your sister, your confidant, your political core team advisor said, you know what? I want to run too?
Yeah. So first, I don't know how we got to where we are today, but happy to be here.
Hmm.
As far as the studio move, um, it, I always want to fight side by side with Karen Williams Weaver. But she had every right. Uh, look, she is she did this community good. I know she has good intentions as well as I for the district. We don't go into this type of work. Both of us have doctorate degrees
Absolutely. Right.
and could be doing something so different.
Hmm.
But fighting for communities and for what's right for the communities, that's something that we're both called to do. She is someone who I consider a friend. And I know just the type of servant that she is, people would be calling her also and telling her, you need to consider this. And guess what? When it's a calling, you have to consider it.
Right.
And I have to respect that.
Okay. Okay. I'm sure she's not advising you on your political path anymore, though, is she?
She is not my
Okay.
campaign manager
Okay.
in this campaign.
Okay. And so it was other talk. I won't mention names because I don't like mentioning this name anyway. But I supported Pam when she was over here, but the truth shall set you free. Wink, wink. We know who we talking about. And but I'm for Dr. Weaver. I can't support Pam Pugh over here, and everybody go get your money back that gave over here, and we're gonna put it over here.
Is that what he
Pam,
said?
yeah, that's what he said, girl. I'm just telling you the truth. Because the
Well,
truth gonna set me free. That's what he said. He was telling people to take their money back from you
well,
because that they
I'm
gave
gonna
to the
call him
Senate.
because I know
Call
who you're
him.
talking about. I'm gonna call him
Mhm.
on my way home.
Call him on
But
your way home.
um,
Tell him I said hi.
that person gives me a daily prayer.
Erase it.
I'm not gonna erase it. I'm not gonna erase it.
Okay.
Some would say that politics is a sport.
Mhm,
It's definitely not for the faint at heart. And we
mhm.
cannot get our panties up in a bunch
Right.
over things that people will say. I've argued with people. My aunt told me uh, there's no such things as permanent friends and permanent foes,
You're right.
and
That's a
it's
good one.
permanent interests, just permanent missions and goals. And I'm not saying that necessarily here. It doesn't apply fully because these are people I would still consider friends, but you're going to differ on things in this business.
Okay.
And you have to be ready for that and
All right.
continue to keep straight ahead. And that's what I'm going to do because this is a mission
And
and
you
it's
know what?
not going to be hard and easy. And I'm not, I'm determined to be the first Black female congressional person from this district. And you know why?
Why,
Because
Pam?
we know representation matters. We can just look around us and see the world that's
Mhm,
going on around us. And we know that we need serious leaders who are going to carry our concerns, our struggles to the table and
mhm,
bring the resources back to the people so that we can live and we can have good quality of life, so that we can hold our heads up with
mhm,
dignity.
mhm.
And we deserve that. And so I am determined.
Absolutely.
It's going to be rough. The
Right.
road will be bumpy.
And I wanted to get those two questions out the way. And I said I wasn't going to make it all about the negative. I want to highlight Pam Pugh. So thank you for giving me your honest answer. I appreciate that.
That it is.
So I got another letter sent to me today,
Mhm.
and I want to read it for the audience members who haven't read the letter. It's from the State Board of Education, dated January 8th, 2024. Pugh and Flint Community School officials call for immediate state action to provide debt relief. Pam Pugh, president, currently president of the Michigan State Board of Education, lauds the benefits that will soon be realized by 6 Michigan school districts with $114 million in debt relief from the state, while also supporting Michigan State Superintendent of Public, what's that?
Education.
Okay, that's not the word I'm looking at. Instruction to
Oh, instruction,
explore.
you're right.
Yep, expansion of. I don't have my breakaway
Mhm.
glasses that I used to be
No,
having.
that's you gave the right title. I was giving you the wrong
Oh, okay, okay. Expansion of this greatly needed relief to the Flint community schools. The fiscal challenge facing Flint Community Schools demands immediate and decisive action. As Flint Community Schools stares down a daunting operational deficit in the upcoming fiscal year, coupled with the imminent depletion of ESSER funds, we are on the brink of full-blown financial emergency. This is not merely a budgetary shortfall, it's a looming catastrophe that threatens the educational future of our children, states Pugh. And it goes on and on and on. You're talking, you went to the governor. It's also a quote in here from former President Michael Clack. Flint Community Schools' proportion of children with special needs far exceeds that of the state. Therefore, our district similarly needs urgent debt relief to protect and enhance the education of our children. We've seen the positive impact of this relief. That this relief can have, and it's time Flint received the same level of support. And that was a quote from Michael Clack. Pam, tell us about this letter and what's going on with that.
Well, in December, the end of December, the governor signed a supplemental budget.
Okay.
And in that budget, that legislation allowed for 6 school districts. 4 existing, Benton Harbor, Muskegon Heights were a part of those, and some others. Um, to have $114 million went towards their debt relief. And somehow Flint was left out of that. Flint has
Mm,
about a $56 million deficit, I believe, debt, I believe, right
really?
now. And
Wow.
so just questioning, I know Flint has been questioning, the superintendent has been questioning here. Superintendent Jones, as well as the board, have been questioning why they were left out. And
Hmm.
so we're asking that question, and even more importantly, how do we fix this and make it right and make sure that Flint is allowed to be a part of that debt relief. The state superintendent of public instruction, who state superintendent is what we call him, has been asking for this. When before the 6 districts received their debt relief, he was the person who went to the governor asking for debt relief. And thank God the legislature, as well as the governor, legislature passed that budget legislation, and the governor signed it into law. And so we're now asking for Flint to be a part of that.
Okay. How you think that's going? How you think it's looking? You think it's
We'll see.
okay?
We will be at the State of the State January 24th,
Okay.
and we will go and we will listen,
Okay.
and we will hear what the governor's budget plans are, or what the priorities are, and hopefully Flint will be a part of that. So
So that's when we'll find out.
I don't know if that's when we'll find out, but
Okay.
hopefully we'll get a wink, wink, or
Okay.
find out what direction they're going in as far as this district that so desperately needs rights of the past,
Okay.
wrongs of the past righted. We know that we have an education system uh, countrywide, but definitely in this state,
Mhm.
that was a system that was not designed to help those communities most in need. Black and brown communities, low income communities, communities where there's English language learners, communities where there's high special needs children. Flint has a high proportion of all of that.
And I'm glad to see that you are doing something for Flint, especially for the Flint schools. Because I remember, I can't remember who it was. They said, "Well, she's not relatable. She doesn't think about the least of them, the poor people." But you know what, Pam, you thought about the Flint kids,
It's not the
and for
first time though.
everybody's watching, I know
We
they
can, yeah, we
they
can,
don't know that. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
this I seen it for myself. This meant a lot because the Flint kids, they need help. Also, I want to highlight Detroit, someone in Detroit sued the state of Michigan. Is that how that went? And
They
you
sued
stood,
me
they sued you,
and the state
but you
board,
stood
my other
on the
board members in the
side
state.
with the children. Can you tell us about that, Pam?
Sure. So we had 7 brave young children who stood up and said, like many other communities, that they didn't have heat in the winter, air in the summer, books in their classrooms, teachers in the building. They went to school with vermin and rodents
What?
and roaches. I mean, but that's not uncommon in some of the buildings that we've seen. And so they
Wow.
said denied them access to education
Mhm.
that allowed them to participate in our democracy. They went to court, though people said they would never win, and they got a ruling from the Sixth Circuit Court that was in their favor that said that they were owed a basic right to literacy, which is
Mhm.
what they were asking for. That it ended up settling out of court, and it was said that they would never see the dollars. But in June, there was a budget that was signed, and they had $27 million that went to the Detroit
Wow.
public schools. And yes, I was being sued as a member of the State Board of Education. I was told that if I stood with the students, that it could blow back on me. But I got my own attorney and helped to side with the students. So that made me a defendant as well as a plaintiff.
So you stood up for the children. We don't have a lot of people that stand up for the children these days. So I compliment you on that too.
Thank you.
So if so, let's bring our focus back to the congressional
Mhm.
seat that you are seeking. For somebody that doesn't know you, that's watching, we have a lot of viewers that saying, this is my first time finding out about Pam and listening to Pam and relating to Pam. Excuse me, Dr. Pugh.
Pam is good.
So, if you could tell the audience 3 things of why they should vote for you, what makes Dr. Pamela Pugh stand out as the best candidate?
So I would say, just understanding the struggle of the people. I've worked on the ground in Saginaw, helping to bring community together, whether we're talking faith based, community based, everyday people, business, philanthropy, to help make sure the community was out in front, leading in their problem solving. And that's how I got here to Flint. And many people don't know I was here for a year
Mhm.
volunteering, collecting the voice of the people of Flint that was turned into a 20-point plan. We were working with the national as well as the local NAACP here, and we took that information and used that as the demands for the government as far as the state, the federal, and the local government as far as what the people wanted. It was their voice and served here in Flint. And knowing that people deserve an opportunity to economic dignity, an opportunity to a family sustaining wage, to be able to be respected on their jobs, to be able to have good quality of life, and to be able to have good access to affordable health care, making sure that people have opportunity to retire here in Michigan with dignity. But Wyntis, when I was here, there were things that we were able to do. We were able to
And what
push.
did you do here? A lot of people don't even know what you did
So I
here.
was the chief public health advisor. So what I did was made sure that there was health equity in all policies. So what that means is that we put the health and well-being of people over the politics in City Hall.
Mhm.
And when it comes to the education system, pushing to get before the state left. I made sure that testing was happening in the schools on a routine basis. There was an instance, and people can go and Google it or Bing it. What is it? Bing?
Being with girl, I
Yeah,
just know Google. I
Google.
can't
Yeah.
go.
So there were times. There was the time when they tried to put me out of a meeting, so that
Mm.
for whatever reason, I refused to leave. There was the time when the state was trying to leave and take the bottled water out of the schools first, because if they took the bottled water out of the schools first and people's children weren't drinking water, then of course the rest of the city would think that they didn't need to drink the bottled
Right,
water.
right.
And being in that meeting and putting a stop to that, and making sure that Mayor Weaver
I didn't know
was
that, Pam.
aware of that. It's all documented.
Wow.
They were stance. I was with Mayor Weaver when she went to see Governor Snyder when he told her get over it,
Mhm,
and that we were moving on. There was a lot growing the budget when
mhm,
I came because Mayor Weaver asked um, President Obama for someone to be in the building inside of City Hall
mhm.
who had a background that someone she could trust, someone who could give her fact-based information. We got a $300,000 grant from the Ford Foundation.
Oh,
And I have
wow.
been working with Dr. Mona Hanna Tisha. I had spent some time with her. She's the one who told me about the job description that was out there.
Mhm,
So when I was here, grew that budget from 300,000 to 2.4 million, a staff of 3 people
okay.
to a staff of 14 and 10 children. Some of those children, I got a letter today from Dr. Kent Key and Sarah Bailey, and that effort is still going. The youth that are still doing public health, so they were under some of the work that we were doing through recast with Dr. Vicky
Okay.
Johnson Lawrence. So there was a lot that we were doing. I could go on and on and on. We reinstated a technical advisory committee that allowed community to come in.
Mhm,
Dr. Vicky Johnson Lawrence and I put forward the first ever environmental justice and resiliency summit where we looked at environmental justice issues while and brought in experts while we were also looking at resiliency, social and emotional supports the needs of the people here in Flint. I could say more, but I left the community,
mhm.
and I want to say this loudly.
Okay, 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 girl.
I left the community with a public health plan because there were some discrepancies there, but we left the community with a public health plan. We organized.
Oh, yes, we did hear from the
Mhm.
little fella that said you didn't have a public
It's
health
there.
plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's there. So, but
Make me
um,
laugh.
it is there. We brought in, we collected voice of community. We went around the community and got
Mhm,
information and used, of course, other sources of data. And then we brought in Michigan Public Health Institute, who helped us to write out the plan and made sure that we left that plan.
okay.
Um, so,
So, Pam, like what I do, and I'm looking at the comments, I try to make people relatable.
mhm,
Um, and for those who don't know, because I really don't know the full description, what does a congressman do?
mhm.
What will you be doing when you win?
Well, first of all, resources,
Okay.
passing budget,
Okay.
making sure that that budget is inclusive of us,
Okay.
making sure that we are passing laws, and then also making sure, for me, making sure that we know all the communities that we represent and know that we can pass laws, pass budget, and then make sure that budget and is being realized, those resources are being realized by everyday people on the ground, um, and making sure I'm checking to see that that's happening because we can pass the laws,
Mhm.
we can get the budgets,
Mhm.
but if the dollars get stuck somewhere and
Mhm.
don't get to the people, which happens,
Right.
then we're still suffering.
Right. You're absolutely
So I would
right.
say that would be a focus of mine.
So what's your number one goal? What's your number one goal?
Economic dignity,
Okay.
and that's an umbrella for so many issues. As I mentioned, my background is in environmental health,
Mhm.
climate, and environmental justice. So that can be a part of this economic dignity. It's a pathway because we know that as we transition to a more sustainable, more healthier way of doing things,
Mhm.
the workforce is changing.
Yes.
And we don't want to be left out. We don't want to be left out of the jobs. We don't want to be left out of the entrepreneurial opportunities.
Mhm.
And so making sure that we have this what is called just transition. So as the people who are most impacted by utility costs, water costs, more impacted by variance in temperature, heat, and low temperature, the differences in the weather patterns, we're most impacted. Low income and people of color, making sure that we are the first, at least in there, to be able to benefit from resources and this new way that we're heading towards. Also, making sure that we have access to equitable and adequate education.
I was just about to ask you,
And that
being the
is a
president of
pathway.
the school board.
That is a pathway, making sure that our per pupil cost, the money that we're putting in a child's education, is not less than that than we're giving to a per prisoner cost. That we can have
That's a
new
good one, Pam.
school buildings
Right.
that are built and outpacing the building of prisons.
Right.
All of that is a pathway to economic dignity. And we can talk about housing that goes into that. Most of the resources that I've brought in have been through HUD, and making sure when we're talking about housing, we have affordable housing. We have housing that's safe for children. We have housing where the heat's not going out the windows, so energy efficient housing, and eventually housing where we can reduce our energy costs altogether by having solar and other renewable energy.
Absolutely
But
agree.
all of that goes into economic dignity. And guess what? I've worked in all of those areas.
Someone just said Dr. Pam is the only one who has worked in all parts of the district.
I've worked in all parts of the district. I've worked with HUD. I've worked with EPA. I've worked with the federal government. I've worked with the local government. I've worked with the state government.
Damn, Pam, you should have ran for governor.
Let me tell you something else. Because they will try to put us in a box. And they will try to say that people who talk like us, who fight like us, are not relatable. But I won twice.
Yes,
I won
you
in
did.
2014 statewide when Republicans swept the ticket. They won the gubernatorial race. They won the AG's race. They won the Secretary of State race.
They did.
They shut down our war room. We were there to celebrate in Detroit. This was in 2014. And I asked somebody, I said, hey, you shut down the war room. I didn't get my numbers because I was running for State Board of Ed. And they're like, Pam, go to bed. You lost. Conventional wisdom should tell you that you lost.
Oh, wow.
They woke up the next morning. They said, you have pundits baffled. They said, you won, which I already knew.
And that's right, girl.
And basically go save the world, because the rest of the people that were going there were not people who had policy thoughts, policy priorities that we had. So under a Republican regime, I went and I fought for our children across this state. In 2022, I stood up, and I don't always take the most popular stances on issues, as we've just said.
Yes.
I fought for Benton Harbor children. I fought for Detroit children.
Tell us about the Benton Harbor children. I left that out. Tell us about that.
The Benton Harbor children, they were getting ready to shut down their schools. It's a lot of times that's what they do. They shut down our schools. And when you shut down schools, your per pupil funding costs leave out of that district. And that's where you lose money. So, and that crumbles communities.
Yes, it does.
So they were trying to take the one high school from Benton Harbor, and that would have devastated that community. And so what I told the department to do was to get an AG's opinion, because at that time it was the governor who was trying to shut down the schools. And I asked for AG's opinion on whose authority it was. It was the Department of Education, and guess who oversees the Department of Education? The State Board of Education.
Okay, I was going.
That pretty much squashed that. It was several people who were working on it, but that AG's opinion definitely helped. But I don't always take the most popular. I don't take the popular. I take what's best for the people and take hits for it. but I was still able to take some hard hits, whether it was the people on the far right,
Right.
or whether it was people who, sometimes my own party. I took those stances, and guess what? Still won, still the highest vote getter, got over 2 million votes.
Mhm.
Um, and so that is who I was raised to be.
Well, I
And
do have one more question.
mhm,
Lady by the name of Betsy DeVos.
mhm,
I'm not sure what she does now, but I know that a few years ago she took a stance, and it's like she doesn't like public education. She's pushing for private education
in charter
and charter schools.
privatization.
If you were to, when you win, I like to speak things into existence. When you win and you are that Black female in Congress fighting for the least of the children,
Mhm,
what impact can you make to help save our public schools against somebody like
right.
Betsy DeVos?
So first of all, making sure that a Betsy DeVos is not put in place to head our U.S. Department of Ed, because she was.
Yes, she was.
She's based here in Michigan,
Mhm,
but they put her in office as the head of the U.S. Department of Ed, and this is somebody who wants to like do away with
mhm,
the U.S. Department of Ed. I would not be. I would be a congressperson who would be staunchly against doing away with the U.S. Department of Ed, and then making sure that we have appointees that are there that that stand for public education, and
mhm,
making sure that public education's system is adequately funded to support that priority as well. But Betsy DeVos has been bad. There are others who have definitely caused so much destruction by just allowing charters to go up everywhere. Michigan is has the highest number of charters. Let me say it like this: for-profit charters,
for-profit
for-profit
charters.
charters, or for-profit entities that are running the charters than any other state.
So
So
you
that
have
means
people making money off of
there
our
it is.
go
Yes,
off of our children.
that's it. Mhm. Yes.
Do you?
And sometimes they do well,
Uh-huh.
but we have not been able to see on record where they've done any better. A lot of times worse, as far as outcomes for our children. We've also recently, the State Board of Ed, about a year ago, asked for, we FOIA some school districts. We FOIA traditional school districts. We FOIA for-profit charters. We FOIA the public charters, and we all the charters are public charters. I'm sorry, the for-profit and not for-profit charters. And what we found is that the for-profit charters have the less transparency when it comes to where the dollars are going. Are the dollars going into the classroom? Are the dollars going to the teachers? Are they having more dollars that are going to vendors and contractors or whomever else?
Mhm.
So, and that is a concern of mine. And we see that when you have no type of structure for how charters pop up, uh, it devastates communities and districts.
I'm enjoying this conversation with you, Pam. You are
Thank
relatable.
you.
I mean, you are relatable.
Make it easy.
We've never had a chance to sit down and have a conversation. And I have an audience that, they want to see, they want to be able to relate to you. And I think you've done a great job with that tonight.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Um, we got questions up there, Mickey. Oh, they said, can she face the mic?
Oh, I'm
Okay. Well,
sorry.
she has such a soft, lovely voice. Shanetta Wood said Dr. Pugh has studied and is showing herself approved. So yes, I like this. There. No, we'll put it up there, Mickey. Let's get some of the comments up here from the people tonight. Let's see what they're talking about. Many with no valid experience or fabricated resumes. Yes, she's a real doctor. She's a real doctor.
Well,
Y'all better be listening to Dr. Pamela Pugh. She knows what she's talking about. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Well, let me tell you, we have a fight ahead of us.
Mhm.
We need to make sure that we have representation that represents us. And we need to make sure we have people who are going in any place in government that are going to pull up at that seat and make sure that they're moving with all urgency to address our needs. And that is what I hope to do.
Now, how can people get in contact with you, Pam
I'm happy
Pugh?
that you asked because I always forget
And
that
I
part.
know, and then I was saying I was something that I don't want to forget, but I want to
I
know
always
how
forget
can
that.
people get in contact with you?
Please go visit me at pewmichigan.com.
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 Okay. Okay. And when is the primary? August of
It's
this year?
August. It is
Okay.
August. But we have to tap in now because what
Okay.
happens is every day there's someone who's trying to push you and move you
Mhm.
out of the race. And so we need people to tap in. We need donations. And guess what? $5, $3 donations, those are good. I can't say that enough
Mhm.
because we want to see the number of people who are also investing in this campaign, investing in me, saying that they want to see someone who looks like me go to represent us.
Right.
And so we definitely need donations.
We do too.
pewmichigan.com.
We do too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
AATN
Get
News
yours
Media
in.
Group. No,
Please. Oh.
no, this is about you, Pam. I just
No, no,
wanted
no.
to make you
This is
laugh.
okay. Get it in there because, we have to support to be able to exist.
We do. We do.
It doesn't just happen. And I know people have a lot going on, but if we all help each other, we can make it.
All right. Well, we have a few minutes left that Mickey and I are going to carry on, but any last words from you? I want you to leave the best impression that you can on our viewers before you exit the scene and make it a memorable one.
Oh my
Pam
goodness, I
Pugh.
was hoping that I already did that.
You
So,
have, you have, you
I
have.
just thank you, Wyntis. I thank you, Mickey. And like I said, I can say it on repeat. Representation matters. Make sure that we have people who are going to these tables, whether it's our boards of education table, our city council tables, and I know you all probably have a lot to talk about there, and or our
Yeah, they wanted to ask you about that, but we're not getting into that, Pam.
or our congressional seats. We need to make sure that we have people there who represent us, and make sure you do your due diligence to explore candidates. But what I can tell you about me is that I have been in the trenches. I have a bachelor's in chemical engineering degree, a master's of science, a doctorate of public health, and there's so many things and directions that I could have taken, but to be in the trenches and making sure that we're working for us again, everyday people is what I have dedicated my life to do. I am prepared to go to Washington D.C. to do the same. You will be able to access me. I am accessible and I want to go and represent us and make sure that I'm bringing resources back to our communities and fight for the economic dignity of each and every one of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Pam. It was a pleasure.
It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you so much. Mickey's will hold on, stay with us. We're not going anywhere. We're just letting Pam. What you say? Okay, yeah. I'm just making sure that everybody stays with us while Pam exits. You're gonna walk her down. Then you're gonna turn me back on when you give her a coat, cousin. Okay. Thank you, Pam.
All right.
I'm gonna call you after this. Thank you so much. I sure will. Thank you. Oh yeah, Mickey gonna walk her down, but he wouldn't come help me the other night when Liddell. I thought she was gonna beat me up. But you know what? What y'all think? What do you guys think? I I'm pleasantly surprised by Dr. Pam Pugh. Um, I really am. Let me see what some of the comments you guys I want to see what do you guys think. Well, yeah, we know a lot of people say things during campaign season, but I was pleasantly impressed with Dr. Pamela Pugh. I really was. the way that she handled, like I said, the two main things that we talked about. And I remember when Dr. Weaver said that she was going to possibly run for the congressional seat too. I'm like, oh, I wonder how Pam feels. I wonder how Pam feels. She handled that question, baby, with ease. Didn't know I was going to ask her that, but the way she and I believe her. I truly believe her. Like, you know what? It is what it is. That was her right to do it. She whatever happened, happened. But Pam is running. You see how she kept coming back like, okay, but I'm running. I like that about her. What was the other question? Why she switched races? And I would have done the same thing. I would probably got tired of going to the blueberry festivals and the strawberry festivals and all those kind of festivals when I could come back home and concentrate on home. Like she said, she's been in Saginaw for 52 of her 53 years. And so she has Saginaw, Bay County, Midland, and Genesee. I thought she did very good. And Dr. Padroni. Oh, I love when Dr. Padroni comes in. Pam is for real. He says, I've known her and worked with her for 10 years, and she's been authentic every step of the way. Um, Miss Spring, very good interview and great information on her background. And that's what we do on the Wyntis Hall show. See, anybody can do an interview, but I like making people relatable. I like asking them questions and just see. Did you understand what I'm saying? Like, how do you just do on a day-to-day basis? She covered so much ground in that little bit of time. We got to know a lot about Pam. I didn't even know biology. Worked at Dow Chemicals. I enjoyed the interview. Mickey, what do you think? Turn your mic on. I was just saying I was impressed. I was
Oh
really
yeah, I was
impressed.
impressed. I was impressed. I told her. I even said that. I
Yeah.
like the way she handled the questions and everything, and she didn't duck nothing.
She didn't duck anything. She
Yeah,
didn't like, oh, I don't want to talk about
yeah,
that. She came in and she did good. And I thought, being in media, we can't endorse anyone. I found that out the hard way, but
right.
I
I know
I,
I get calls all the time. What you done got into? I'll be like, Winters done done something with you.
yeah, but Winters is not going to endorse anybody, and I'm inviting anybody on the platform that would like to come, but I reached out to Pam because I thought Pam had been drugged enough, and I just wanted to lift her back up. Um,
But you know what? If I'm of like I said, I think she'd be a fighter
Thank you,
for the.
Harletta.
I think she'd be a fighter for the people. Just my opinion.
Hmm.
You know what
But
I'm
what she's
saying?
doing for those kids, though,
That's
that's
why
that really impressed
I
me.
think if you put her in that seat, she'd even probably do more wonders.
Right.
That's just
More
my opinion.
power. Like
Yeah.
that was just, and I mean, I didn't know Flint had depleted the ESSER funds. That's what it said in that letter. And it said that she said it was they $54 million in the hole.
Mm.
How could that be? But I guess that's another day and another conversation. Um, and when I was kind of, I'm gonna be honest with you because I like being honest with my viewers. I was kind of scared to ask her about that Betsy DeVos because that's one powerful lady. And we know the DeVos family from Grand Rapids, Amway. Everybody heard of Amway. DeVos a very powerful family. But to hear her say, I have stood up to Betsy DeVos, and I'm going to make sure that they won't take away our public education and go for these for-profit charter schools. See, that's another thing that I didn't know. Like people just opening up charter schools for
See,
money.
that's why I put in the title Dr. Pam Pugh for. I mean, I think I just did Pam Pugh because I wanted people to get meet Pam. Most people would be wanting, and I'm glad that's how you did it.
Mhm.
Like how I put the title in, for people can get to know Pam.
Right.
A lot of time people get to know Dr. Pamela Pugh.
Right. But we just
know what I'm
wanted to
saying?
know Pam tonight.
Right,
And I think we got to know Pam.
right.
And I hope you all were happy with that interview. And what did Dr. Perjoni says? She has needed to as state board president. See, I never knew that she would have to. We talking about Betsy DeVos, right? I never knew that. And Betsy DeVos was, like she said, she was in D.C. over education. I remember she wanted to give everybody a what was that, Dr. Padroni? She wanted to give everybody money to go to the private school of their choice or something like that. You remember that, Dr. Padroni? So yeah, I am pleasantly surprised and impressed with Dr. Pam Pugh. That's all I can say.
Yeah, he said yes.
So
Dr.
yes,
Petroni.
okay, you said yes. So yeah, so
I mean,
that's it.
you know, I really feel like if you know she get in, you put it in there, family.
Mhm.
She gonna do right by Flint too.
Right.
See, that's the
And
thing.
she already doing it, like
Right.
with that letter.
Right. So
No,
that's the
and you know
thing.
we hate letters, but that was a
Despise
good
them.
letter. That was a good letter. She's trying to help the kids in Flint. And for all of you who haven't seen that letter,
Right.
I will put that up in Flint Politics Reboot as soon as we get off of here. But I thank you all for joining us tonight. And Pam, if you're in the car listening, or some of your supporters out there, thank you. I got to know Pam, not Dr. Pugh, not Dr. Pam Pugh. I got to know Pam tonight. And you know what? Damn it. I like Pam. Damn. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I like Pam. So thank you, Pam Pugh, for coming. Thank all of you for watching tonight. And we will be back in the morning at 9 a.m. So come bump with us Friday before the weekend. We're going to get ahead of that snowstorm because me and Mickey don't want to get snowed in, and we have to go live all weekend up here. Right, Mickey?
Nah, I'll be sending you a link to the crib. Shit, like that.
See you all tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Have a good night.
Peace.